Hi everybody, my name is Jeremy Siskin. I am the author of this brand new book, Jazz Piano Fundamentals, Book 2. If you don't already have it, I'm also the author of Jazz Piano Fundamentals, Book 1, and the classic favorite, Playing Solo Jazz Piano. And I want to show you something that I consider to be like the heart of Jazz Piano Book 2. My goal with this book is to give you the power, you the student, the power to find your own material in transcriptions and then assimilate it, adopt it, use it in your own playing. And I don't like the concept. Some people say steal a lick from a transcription, and that's good, but that gets you only so far. It's like stealing an exact sentence in another language, right? You're not really going to learn that fast if you're learning just exact sentences. So I have developed this new approach. It's not really that new, but I think I've codified it in a way that's going to be really helpful. So let's go to the book. So I call this the COREA process. Of course, that's honoring Chick Corea. I'm not claiming that Chick Corea did this, by the way. I just thought it was a good acronym, and we love Chick Corea, so let's honor him here. Okay, so here are the parts. First, we're going to extract a concept from the solo. Whoa. Great presentation, Jeremy. You're really selling everybody by basically crossing it out. Extract a concept from the solo. And the four kind of categories I put this in, and each one's I go over in detail in the book, are rhythmic, harmonic, gestural, or developmental. Okay, and we'll figure out more about what we mean by a concept soon. So that's the C. Then practice improvising using that concept over, that's the O, a static progression. By a static progression, I'll go over this more, but I mean a drone progression, a 2-5-1, a minor 2-5-1, a 1-6-2-5, something that basically repeats. You don't have to think too much about the chords. Then repeat the concept relentlessly on a standard tune. So every single possible time you can use this concept, you're going to use it. That's the R. The E is to scale back and employ the concept elegantly with moderation. Okay, so if you were going to use it in a tune, how would you actually use it, right? This is the difference between, let's say, forcing a word into a sentence as you learn a new word and, being able to just kind of use it in a really natural way. And then the A stands for ask yourself what if questions. So this first pass through the COREA concept, we're looking at rhythms as a concept, okay? So for a rhythmic concept, and I'll make myself a little bit bigger here. For a rhythmic concept, you could take an exact rhythm from part of the solo. You could think about things like where does the phrase start? Where does Miles Davis generally start his phrases? On the end of one. Where does he generally end his phrases? It could be an interesting rhythmic unit that the artist is using, like maybe they're using a quarter note triplet. That's a little bit unusual. Or maybe they're using a lot of long notes. Maybe they're hitting a lot of dotted half notes, right? So it could be anything like that. So what I did is I actually found this rhythm that Miles Davis uses a few times throughout his Bye Blackbird solo, and that's the first transcription in the book. And it's kind of cool because it's this alternation between eighth and then dotted quarter. I know these aren't written as dotted quarters, but it's an eighth plus a quarter. So right, that's the same as a dotted quarter. So 1, 2, da, 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 2, da. And I like this rhythm in particular because it's anticipating each of the strong beats, right? Our strong beats in the measure are 1 and 3, and this is leading in to 2 and 4. 1, do va, do va, do va. And so just to show you I didn't make this up, I'd show you 3 places that Miles Davis uses this rhythm in his solo. That's at measure 19 of his solo. Letter B is from measure 27. And then letter C here, 1. Right, same concept. It starts a little bit later, right? We don't quite have the same beginning, but then it goes into this alternation between eighth and dotted quarter. So that's pretty cool. So what am I going to do next? I'm going to practice improvising using that rhythm over a static progression, like a drone, a 2-5-1, or a 1-6-2-5 progression. And so I give you a couple examples, but I'll do more for you here. And by the way, every unit has a QR code, which scans to a page for that unit, which has a ton of videos that I've made exclusively for the book. So it's not just that you can see me doing it for longer here. If you get the book, you can scan the QR code and you can see this page. So, but I'm just gonna do it over a 2-5-1 in F, because Bye Blackbird is in F. So just gonna have these chords, and I'll play the demonstration as written here. And second line. Right? But I could keep going, and that is what I would actually do. I would set a timer for maybe 5, 7, 10 minutes, and I would practice just using this rhythm over a 2-5-1, so it really gets deep in there. Now I'm just improvising. Okay, so I would do that for 5, 7, 10 minutes until it's just like super deeply ingrained. That is the O of the COREA process. You're doing it over a static progression, so you don't really have to think about it. So next, we're going to improvise over a full tune, repeating the rhythm relentlessly. You could probably guess that's the R. Okay, so I'll pick a tune other than Bye Blackbird. And here, it's a 2-measure rhythm. Every 2 measures, I'm going to play this rhythm. So let's play It Could Happen to You. I'll do it in E flat. So 1, 2, 3. So here's the halfway point. One time through the tune. And again, I'd probably put on a timer and I'd play 5 or 10 minutes just using this over a tune, and then maybe I'd switch tunes, do it again. By the way, one thing that I find that sometimes hangs up students is the relationship between rhythm and shape, right? Rhythm, of course, refers to quarter notes, eighth notes, how long each note is, where it comes in the scope of the bar, whereas shape refers to whether things go up or down. Those two things are somewhat related, but if I'm practicing a rhythm like this, what I want to do is maybe at first, I'll replicate the shape that Miles Davis did, and then I want to try it with really different shapes. You know, practice going straight up and then straight down, practice going straight down and then straight up, practice wiggling around, practice having only small intervals, practice only having large intervals, practice with arpeggios, practice with scales. So just because Miles Davis or Keith Jarrett or whoever plays a rhythm using a certain shape, it doesn't mean that that rhythm and that shape necessarily have to go together. And of course, you know, having these 3 different Miles Davis phrases here, we can see each one kind of goes down. A and B both go down, but A really goes down, whereas B just goes down by step. And then C, he's repeating the same 2 notes. So all 3 kind of have different shapes. So I would encourage you, as you do this practice with rhythm, to not feel beholden to a particular shape. All right, number 4 is to practice using the rhythm elegantly. Okay, so now this is the E of the COREA process. What we're going to do is we're going to try to mix it in, not exactly camouflage it, but that's kind of the idea, is that you don't want people to say, oh, they're just doing that rhythm again and again. So I think roughly once every 8 measures, once every 16 measures would be a good amount to use it. And here, especially because we're talking about rhythm, we might want to play into that rhythm and out of the rhythm, and that's part of the challenge. So let me play you the example in the book, which is over by Blackbird. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if you're listening, sure, you can hear the intent behind using that rhythm. If you're not, then you might not hear it as much. So then that last step, in my opinion, is the most fun one. It's the A, and it stands for ask yourself what if questions. So I'll go through the ones that are in the book, and then I might have some others. So this was an alternating rhythm. It was eighth, dotted quarter, eighth, dotted quarter. What about alternating some other rhythms? So letter A alternates between a quarter and an eighth. Pretty cool. Letter B alternates between a half note and a quarter. Okay. Or letter C kind of does the same rhythm but fills in a little triplet. Let's see, letter D is eliminating the time. We could also think about, instead of having eighth dotted quarter starting on beat 2, what if it starts on beat 1 or beat 3? So these are all kind of what if questions that I like to ask myself to take this simple concept and think about, okay, well, what if we take just one element and we change some other element about it? Great, so I hope that that's helpful to you. If you enjoyed this, you'll probably enjoy Jazz Piano Fundamentals Book 2. We went through how to use this concept in terms of rhythm, but there's other sections that focus on harmony, on gestures, and on developing a solo from motif to motif. So thanks for watching, and like, subscribe, comment, and check out Jazz Piano Fundamentals Book 2. Thanks, everybody.